Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. As you see, please put your name, location, and your pronouns in the chat, and we will be beginning shortly. It's 6:02, and I will begin and welcome everyone, and thank you for joining our PennFuture members only webinar. My name is Jane Lee, and I'm the Development Director at PennFuture. We're grateful for your support and engagement with our work. As members, you play a critical role in advancing our work as PennFuture's mission to protect air, water, and climate to create a just, sustainable future for all Pennsylvanians. Tonight, we're excited to share updates on our current campaigns, highlight the impact your support makes possible, and talk about ways you can stay involved in the work ahead. Thank you again for being the best part of our PennFuture community, and we can get started now. Next slide, please. PennFuture is powered by our members. Every gift, large or small, makes you a part of our movement to protect Pennsylvania's air, water, and communities. This year, we expanded our membership model to recognize that support comes in many forms: donations, participating in action alerts, contacting elected officials, attending events, or volunteering your time all helps move our mission forward. Take 3 or more of these actions in a year, and you're a PennFuture member. When you give your time or your resources, you're helping us grow the collective voice we bring to government, the courts, and polluters, showing clearly that Pennsylvanians are standing up for our future. Now I would like to introduce our president and CEO, Mr. Patrick McDonnell.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on a Wednesday evening. I'll mention at the outset we're getting tornado warnings here in Harrisburg, which is a lot of fun. So if I suddenly cut out, you know what's going on. Next slide, please. So, PennFuture, who are we? We're a nonpartisan statewide environmental organization. Nonpartisan, we're not red, we're not blue, we're not purple. We're simply looking for what the right solutions are for clean air, clean water, and climate resilience in the Commonwealth. I'll highlight just for a second our mission statement. This is actually relatively new, only 2 years old now. But it really encapsulates those key principles of the Environmental Rights Amendment, making sure that we have clean air, pure water, climate change solutions, and talks about some of the tactics that we engage in, be it legal advocacy or some of the democracy work that we do. Next slide. So where are we? These are places where we have offices and staff across the state. We're in Erie, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Philadelphia, Lehigh Valley, East Stroudsburg. I'm currently in Harrisburg, directly across the street from the Capitol, but just about anywhere you are in the state, you're not going to be too far from our staff. So next slide, please. Oh. I'm seeing people can't see the slides potentially.
I can see them just fine. Yeah,
Okay.
sounds like other people are too. If you need any help, we do have a person on the back end that can help you make sure you see the slides.
So thank you for that, Kat. So in terms of the management team, you can see all of the staff here. that really lead the organization. I just would add, we've had a couple of relatively recent changes. Adam Nagel is now our Vice President of Government Affairs, as you see on there, and that encompasses our legislative work as well as the campaigns work. And Annie Regan is our Senior Director of Campaigns for the organization. You'll hear a little more about our campaigns and our legislative work in a bit, but constantly adapting kind of our structure to make sure we're able to meet the moment that we're in. Next slide. So, our secret sauce. This is, frankly, the thing that I find most exciting about our organization and the way we accomplish the work, and that is, frankly, that we're fighting it on a number of fronts. So we have our government affairs team with our strategic partnership with Conservation Voters of Pennsylvania, a C4 organization, and some of the government affairs work that they do. We've combined forces, and we have 5 people now as our environmental lobbying team in the Capitol, in City Hall in Philadelphia, and City Hall in Pittsburgh. So, largest environmental government affairs team in the state. We have a campaigns team, and that encompasses a real focus on clean air, pure water, and climate and energy solutions within the Commonwealth. And again, you'll hear more about that in a moment. Civic engagement, like activating members, activating residents of the Commonwealth in order to engage them, empower them, and make sure that they have the ability to again carry out their desire for a better environment. That civic engagement can come in a number of forms. It may be engaging with a local government official. It may be talking to a state representative. It may be volunteering out at a tabling event and engaging with other residents who are interested in the work that we're all doing. And then our legal team. And our legal team, you'll find them in courtrooms challenging permits, supporting local governments as they try to adopt more rigorous municipal ordinances to combat distribution centers and data centers across the Commonwealth. They'll be in front of the Environmental Hearing Board. They'll be in front of Supreme Court. We're literally at every level there. And they're also very engaged in providing comment on regulations, helping municipal governments think through the kinds of work, the kinds of protections that they should have in place. Next slide, please. So what are some things you can do to uplift PennFuture as a member? Well, the most important one you've already done if you're here, which is you are one of our members, and we're incredibly grateful to you all for all that you do for the organization. Some other things you can do as well, share action alerts. We email things out to you. We post things on social media. Forward, repost, comment. Those things all matter. We have videos. We have Ask Rob segments. Rob Altenberg, who's our resident air energy expert in the organization, will do videos explaining everything from air quality concepts to his most recent one is on the impact of the recent war in Iran on gas prices and what's happening there. Donna's takes, Donna Kohut, who leads our economic development work, talking about different things that, for example, Department of Community and Economic Development or Team Pennsylvania may be doing. I will occasionally be on there asking questions, and every once in a while you'll see our resident intern, the puppet Oslo, connecting with people. So share that, comment, and move on. And then hopefully you all have your sticker. The Clean Air, Pure Water, Your Rights Protect Them, that Environmental Rights Amendment sticker. I keep mine on my water bottle so people can see it at the gym. Please feel free to use that however makes sense. Next slide. So over the last year, some of the things that we accomplished, uh, we had 49 volunteers and 27 of our joint staff, again, PennFuture and Conservation Voters of Pennsylvania, participated in our first lobby day for the environment at the end of last year. You'll hear more about this, but there's another lobby day coming up May 4th, Star Wars Day for all those who celebrate this year. And information is going out to our members about that. We have over 1,500 people became action takers for the first time in 2025. We were mentioned in media 101 times, and again, it's not just our local papers who certainly cover the work that we're doing, but we're also being referenced in places like Mother Jones, Bloomberg Law, and on the Kindred podcast. We saw huge increases, quintupling of our number of followers on TikTok, as well as a big increase in our Instagram followers. And there's some resources now out there for you and others to take advantage of. Solar Municipal Guidebook, a very popular YouTube series we did on data centers, and Data Center Model Ordinance document for municipalities. Next slide, please. Going forward, a few things coming up. Energy Dialogue. We're having an event on June the 4th in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and David Roberts with Volt's podcast and newsletter will be our keynote speaker at that. We're going to continue to pump out those policy briefs and the impact report for 2025. Continued educational programming and avenues to take action, more videos, more explainers on what's going on in Pennsylvania's environment, and a lot more to come besides that. So, next slide. So we're going to do a quick poll before we move on to our next speaker. Just curious, how long have you been a member of PennFuture? And you can see the choices there: 0 to 5 years, 6 to 10, 10 plus years, or I'm not sure. We've been around now over 25 years in the Commonwealth since 1998. So give a moment. And when we think we've hit critical mass on answers, feel free to show those results. Very good. So we have some people not sure, 12% over 10 years, 12% 6 to 10 years, and then 62% 0 to 5 years. So looking forward to seeing those numbers continue to creep up and as we continue to engage with you all. Next slide, please. So I'm going to introduce Ren Gainey, who's one of our new advocacy managers with PennFuture. She's going to walk you through some of the work the government affairs team does. So Ren, when you're ready.
Amazing. Thank you, Pat. And hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. As stated, my name is Ren Gainey. I'm PennFuture's advocacy manager based in Philadelphia. So the government affairs team is led and managed by Adam Nagel, our vice president of government affairs. Also on the team with us is Julia Warner, who is the advocacy manager and is based in Harrisburg. Can I get next slide, please? So I'm going to talk a little bit about what my team does, some wins that we have from last year, and what we're looking forward to this year. So the government affairs team often serves as the first point of contact for government officials in both Philadelphia and Harrisburg. We work alongside our strategic partners at Conservation Voters of PA to engage directly with decision makers on issues that relate to clean energy, pure water, clean air, conservation, and many other environmental as well as quality of life issues across the state. We leverage the combined knowledge and the expertise of all of our staff across our organization to help make the case to lawmakers for stronger environmental protection as well as increased investment. It's really critical that our decision makers, as well as the public, have access to this information and to that expertise that we bring in order for them to make the best decisions that lead us to help attain a sustainable future. Next slide, please. So looking at government affairs, what are our impacts and what are our priorities going into 2026? So looking back on 2025, PennFuture was a leading voice in Harrisburg to advance clean energy. On the slide here, you'll see 3 different House bills that PennFuture worked on or even drafted, all that address clean energy across the state of Pennsylvania. So firstly, we'll talk about House Bill 501. House Bill 501 is a bill that updates our alternative energy portfolio standards. On this bill, PennFuture engaged in significant negotiations with the Shapiro administration, as well as the House of Representatives, to seek greater incentives for small-scale solar projects in Pennsylvania to be a part of this bill. And then up next, House Bill 1260. This was actually a bill that PennFuture drafted. So this bill was recently passed last fall through the House Energy Committee. And what it does is it requires warehouses and distribution centers to be constructed so that their roofs can be utilized to expand and use more solar power. And then lastly, on House Bill 1556, this one we work closely with State Representative Elizabeth Fiedler to craft. And what this bill does is it incentivizes clean energy jobs across the state. This one was also passed last fall out of committee. It is the House Finance Committee that it was passed out of. And the most recent update on that one is that it actually also passed out of the House Representatives this February. So right now, PennFuture and our government affairs team is working to push for a vote in the Senate on that bill. So as we look back on those wins from 2025, we also recognize that the year did not come without its challenges. Last year, we had a state budget deal that took Pennsylvania out of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. The budget also cut general fund dollars to our state parks and to our forests. And the budget allowed industry polluters to fast-track pollution permits. We acknowledge those setbacks at PennFuture, but as we've entered 2025, the team and our organization has even more energy, and our team is advocating even more aggressively to advance our priorities. So looking ahead to 2026, what do we have planned? Number 1, we've already started pushing for our energy affordability agenda. We'll get into that shortly in the presentation. Also, on data centers, we're engaging with lawmakers on the various proposals that are being introduced surrounding data center use to help ensure that our state government adequately protects all of us from the unique impacts that that industry brings. And then lastly, as we move through 2026, PennFuture remains committed to advancing clean water protections throughout the state. We're actively advocating for increased investments as well as funding for water quality, both at the local level in communities and cities such as Philadelphia, but also through statewide action in Harrisburg. So up next, you'll hear lots more about our water work and what those initiatives are in our campaign's presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Annie, who can dive into that work.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can see my camera. Annie Regan, I am the Senior Campaigns Director, and I am going to go over our 3 umbrella campaigns. We will start with our clean air, clean energy, and clean water. We have 3 umbrella campaigns that guide our work that the policy team just kind of laid out. And within these 3 umbrella campaigns, we have a sustainable economics development and environmental justice lens implemented within each of these. So next slide, please. All right, and just to reiterate, for every campaign that we have, we always implement an environmental justice lens, which is the just treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of income, race, color, national origin, tribal affiliation, or disability, in agency decision-making that affect human health and the environment. Studies often show that low-income Black and Brown communities are disproportionately negatively affected by the issues we face. Therefore, all of our advocacy needs to center the equity and justice implications of environmental justice issues we face, the solutions we propose, and the advocacy we engage in. Next slide, please. All right, and so as I previously mentioned, we have also a sustainable economic development lens throughout each of our 3 umbrella campaigns. And Donna Kohut is our policy manager for sustainable economics. She works across all campaigns to ensure we are embedding a workers forward and strategic economic messaging. These are some of the projects that she is working on in the year to come. We will be launching a sustainable growth caucus, more to come for that. I don't want to give too much away as we'll be launching that in the weeks to come, which is very exciting. Um, she is also working on an alternative energy pathway for Pennsylvania, and this will be released during our June 4th Energy Dialogue event in Hershey, PA. She has also been watchdogging Team PA and DCED, these economic entities who are deciding Pennsylvania's economic future, which has historically been involving exclusively fossil fuel development. So she's been doing a lot of videos and newsletter content describing who these entities are, the power that they have, in ways that we can kind of demonstrate uh, how folks can get involved and create a more sustainable path forward as an alternative. So next slide, please. Awesome. And so for our umbrella campaigns, each campaign director acts as a conductor, working across PennFuture departments to provide timely educational opportunities, action alerts, and updates for our members. Next slide. And this is giving y'all a better understanding of how each campaign forms. So every issue starts with the campaigns team, which then gets moved and talked about with our legal or government affairs team, and sometimes both, who help us with messaging to make sure it aligns with legislation that's moving, to make sure it doesn't interfere with any litigation that we are involved with. And then from there, we move on to our communications team to see how we can make that accessible and digestible for the public. And from there, we kind of move it on to our civic engagement team, who you most likely engage with at events, tabling events, through the regional newsletters, that sort of thing. And a big critical piece to this too is a civic engagement team giving the campaigns team in real time feedback based on local community needs of what we need more education on certain issues or why the community might not like certain aspects of a policy or where litigation might be needed on the local level. So it is sort of like a circular process. So in case you're wondering how each department kind of works to get a campaign across, this is sort of the process and how that gets out to you. So next slide, please. Awesome. And so I will quickly go over the 3 umbrella campaigns in the next few minutes. So we'll start off with the Clean Air campaign. Nicholas Bartel is our Clean Air campaign manager. He is based out of Pittsburgh, and he's been on with PennFuture for about 6 months now. And this campaign is really getting started since he hasn't really been here a full year yet, but we've kind of hit the ground running as soon as he started. And we had a big win in Allegheny County with the passing of the air permit fee increase for Allegheny County Council, which was huge. And so he was sort of rushed into that and it took years of advocates and our organizers trying to bring folks to get that vital vote across the finish line. And so Nicholas is also working on creating a common agenda for Allegheny County, working on some decarbonization of steel in southwestern PA that would beneficially help the Mon Valley, watchdog Allegheny County Health Department, and create clean air champions on county council. So more to come here as we kind of lay out our plan here. Next slide, please. Awesome. And we're really excited to announce Tiana Clay, our Clean Water Campaign Manager. Tiana just started just about maybe 3 weeks ago. And so we are definitely still in the process of creating our Clean Water Campaign plan. But something that we're really excited about is creating a state water Pennsylvania table for water. And so more to come on those details as we're sort of having the initial conversations around what is needed to get critical water legislation passed in Pennsylvania. So more to come there. We are still very involved with supporting federal and state water protections and funding across the state. We will be educating our members on water issues, like what is a riparian buffer, for instance, and we will be uplifting our legal team's water work as well. Next slide. And then this is me. I run the Clean Energy and Decarbonization campaign. I am based in Philadelphia, but from Pittsburgh. This campaign, as Ren recently just mentioned, we're doing a lot of work on more solar and battery storage in Pennsylvania, solar siting and fighting solar misinformation, fighting data centers powered by fracked gas, and creating a more resilient power grid in our region. And next slide, please. And some of you might have been on our energy affordability agenda webinar about a month ago. And we're really excited about this. And thanks to whoever just dropped that in the chat. You can get a link to the agenda itself, the petition to endorse it as an individual or organization. You can even check out the recording and the presentation slides. And so this is basically a pathway to guide Pennsylvania's leadership toward a sustainable future that will lower our energy bills. Ren had mentioned the Solar Ready Warehouses bill, as well as the Clean Manufacturing bill. These are all pieces of legislation that fall under this agenda. We have immediate solutions, short-term solutions, and long-term solutions that we are watchdogging and constantly talking to legislators to ensure that they pass these priorities. We have done a few presentations across the state. We've done some in Philadelphia and Wilkes-Barre. And I know Patrick will be speaking to folks in Lancaster County. So if folks would like PennFuture members to talk to your community members about how we fight for energy affordability in the long term as well as the immediate, we are happy to discuss this agenda and teach folks ways that they can get involved and talk to their legislator to make sure that they're passing these priorities. So more to come there too. So next slide. And just to kind of conclude the campaign's role, so folks get a better picture of that too. And here's a picture of the event that I just alluded to of speaking to Wilkes-Barre residents about energy affordability. Basically, the campaigns team creates the materials for civic engagement team to go out into the world. Here we have a handout, for example, of our energy affordability campaign. So we create the presentations, the handouts, the signage, making sure we have internal talking points so that PennFuture does the heavy lifting and reads the bills for you and gives you the main takeaways so that it makes your life easier if you've never had the experience of reading complicated legislation. We brainstorm events and webinars, and we really do hear back from civic engagement of what people in the community want to learn more about. And we're really eager to do in-person events too in communities that would like us to present on issues. So we're very, very open to that. There's a lot of collaboration across departments to kind of get our campaigns out in ways that we can see it. And so yeah, that I think is the next slide. And then I will pass it over to Kat to talk about the civic engagement team.
Hello, thanks, Annie. Yes, I am Kat Marquez. I am the Allegheny County Civic Engagement Mobilizer. I'm lucky to be on such a team where we get to engage with the community. We're known as the eyes and the ears on the ground, getting to really talk to you all as community members and see what are the issues that you care about and how we can plug in and provide the resources or even learn about resources from you all. So here are our civic engagement team currently. Jess Catterett is our director of civic engagement. Myself as the mobilizer in Allegheny County. Natalie is my counterpart as the coordinator in Allegheny County. Ibrahim is the coordinator in Lehigh Valley. Chevelle is the Philly coordinator, and Neil is the Erie coordinator. Here, as you can see, we have two individuals in Allegheny County. This is our pilot program where eventually we hope to instill this in the rest of our statewide program, where we get to have the split where I can engage on what we call grassroots organizing. So I get to work with volunteers, get to take them out to lunch or coffee and learn how I can engage with them and other volunteers. And Natalie is the individual that focuses more on our organizational partners and is more of what we call grass tops in terms of getting to know what our different organizational partners are up to. Next slide, please. So what are some of the things that we as civic engagement folks get to do? So like I mentioned in community outreach, I am very much happy to be able to attend and engage at different community events. We table at different events, festivals, and more throughout the year, especially with next month being Earth Month. We're keeping an eye out for different Earth Month events and seeing how we can bring more people in the state into the movement, into the fold. And we're hoping to present and engage in local community presentations. You can see Natalie here was with our legal team talking and providing information about what the court system looks like in Pennsylvania. And we also get the opportunity to collaborate and support community partners. For instance, next Saturday, I hope to engage with Communitopia at their 2026 Pittsburgh Youth Environmental Summit. Next slide, please. But there's also a really big way that we want to engage in our work, which is with you all as our advocates. This could be either how you've probably gotten in contact with us through either phone banking, text banking, emails, our regional newsletters, etc. We also loop this information, as Annie had mentioned, with the rest of our team, whether that's reporting to our campaigns team about the different works within clean air, clean water, and energy that our community members are invested in, hosting our own educational opportunities, such as our data center ordinance webinar last week. And we also want to work to empower advocates to make sure that their voices are heard. For example, when we were fighting for the air permit fee increase to ensure that residents had cleaner air, and this could fund our air quality program, we empowered a lot of our community members in Allegheny County to come to county council to either present a public comment or letter to the editor or various other actions of how they can get involved so that we know that this is something that they care about and that they're given the voice or given the opportunity to share their voice. Next slide, please. The other big opportunity that we have is run by our coordinators, which is our ways that we can connect with our representatives. While I provide a lot of the outreach to advocates on the ground through sending out action alerts or petitions, these ACE meetings are conducted alongside our government affairs team, as well as our coordinators to put together what we call advocates for the conservancy and the environment. This is our way that if you would like to engage with your legislators, we set up the meetings, we give you the training of the different legislators, policies and bills. All we need is you and your personal experience and to be able to bring that to the table. And that's where, next slide, please. This is where I would like to highlight our upcoming lobby day on May 4th, 2026. As you can scan here or type in the link, this is where we will all go to Harrisburg on May 4th to talk with our legislators in Harrisburg, in our state capital, and tell them what it means to fight for our different energy and water and air bills that protect ourselves and the environment. If you're not able to make it in Harrisburg, don't worry at all. We actually have an opportunity for you to share your story through our storytelling opportunities. This will be a great way to share, even if you're not able to make it to Harrisburg. And that being said, you can click to the next slide. We do have one other poll coming up, and we actually want to hear from you. What are some ways that you have taken action throughout the year, whether that's attending some of our webinars, our in-person events, provided public comments, attended any of our ACE meetings, shared our actions online, or anything else? And if not, we'll get you situated. We're just waiting a little bit longer to get those last couple people in. Great. If you can share the results, perfect. This is actually a great way to show how people have been able to get engaged with us. Webinars such as this, it's a great way to get plugged in at 83%, in-person events at 25%, submitted public comments, 67%, which is amazing, and share actions or other ways. And actually, we do have plenty of ACE meetings that are on the books and are ready to be scheduled. So if you are interested, we do have a way for you to get plugged in. So please follow up with us so that you can meet with your legislator in your own county, in your various regions. And that's it for me. I will pass it on to Abby, our VP for Legal Advocacy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kat. I'll go pretty quickly because I want to make sure we leave enough time for questions and answers at the end. I can't see the chat, so just interrupt me if anybody has any questions. But I just want to say thanks to our campaigns, legislative, and civic engagement teams. They are doing fantastic work, and I'm honored to work with them to make real change in Pennsylvania. It's great to be with you all tonight. My name's Abby Jones, and I'm the Vice President of Legal Advocacy here at PennFuture. I'm so excited to tell you about our amazing legal team and walk you through all the impactful work that we've done in the past year. Next slide. So we're going to meet the team. We have 6 team members who help with policy and regulatory advocacy for PennFuture, including 4 key attorneys who litigate our cases and engage in legal advocacy. And I just want to acknowledge Emma Bast, who was recently promoted to senior attorney this year. We have a great team. Let's see what it looks like by the numbers. Next slide, please. We're going to drill down a little bit to see what the small but mighty team is doing on the litigation front. So our 4 litigating attorneys have won 7 cases in 2025. We currently have over 20 active cases on our docket, with many of these being at the federal level to protect our communities from increased air pollution through the federal regulatory rollbacks. Since we revamped our legal and policy team in 2020, we've had a nearly 70% success rate in our litigation. Next slide, please. One thing that our legal team takes pride in is that our litigation makes a real impact, not only on the communities directly impacted by a facility or regulation, but many times our wins create bigger changes in legal precedent or laws across the state. In 2025, many of our cases were a big win for water quality, including opposition to the impacts of distribution centers in Monroe County in the Northeast, and cleaning up the legacy pollution from waste coal in Venango County. We did have an unfortunate loss last year as well. The Reggie case, I'm sure many of you are following, and I know many of you are probably our Reggie defenders. So this was a tough one. Our legal case was undercut by the state legislation, as I think Ren pointed out, that robbed us of our ability to have our case decided by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. That being said, I do want to thank our attorneys, Jessica O'Neill and Emma Bass, for leading the charge on Reggie for years. We had a really great case. We had really strong arguments. And even though we ultimately didn't have our day in court to be decided, we moved case law on environmental standing for groups like ours. That was a big win. So there is a good silver lining from that case. Now, in addition to our victories, we filed a number of new lawsuits in 2025, including challenging DEP's issuance of an air permit approval for the nation's largest fracked gas plant for the massive Homer City data center complex. We'll be litigating that and many other cases throughout 2026, so please stay tuned. And this litigation is just part of what our amazing legal team does. Whether we're fighting for stronger laws and regulations, developing model ordinances for local government, or helping to educate and empower community members and partner organizations, our legal team is fighting every day for our environmental rights. Our lawyers are in the communities, meeting with partners, doing the legal, regulatory, and policy work, and connecting with each of PennFuture's teams to fight for clean air, clean water, and clean energy. Next slide, please. And so just like we include sustainable economic development and environmental justice lenses in our campaign and other work, the legal team purposefully engages in all of our work through an ERA lens, an environmental rights amendment lens. To learn more about our ERA work, I encourage you to visit our website. I think we're going to put the link in the chat for you. And I am extremely proud of the work that our team does to protect and strengthen our constitutional environmental rights. I'd like to give a major shout out to our managing attorney, Jessica O'Neill, for all the work she's done over the years creating an ERA legal strike force that brings together partners and legal scholars in this work. We have made huge strides thanks to her insightful and powerful legal strategy. Next slide. To be clear, none of PennFuture's legal work would be possible without the support of our membership. And I'd like to take a moment just to share my deep gratitude for each and every one of you here with us tonight, and the many others of you who could not join us. You are an invaluable part of all of our victories. And this is why in 2025, PennFuture launched the Legal Environmental Advocacy Fund, or LEAF. Next slide. LEAF is a dedicated, unrestricted legal fund that will strengthen our legal muscle. Our goal is to raise $250,000 in the first year with continued contributions in the future. Next slide. We launched LEAF with a fundraising breakfast in June at the Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens in Pittsburgh. We had a fantastic conversation about our legal work and the impact litigation has on environmental issues in Pennsylvania. It was a well-attended event and a great way to kick off LEAF. In October, we followed up with a fundraising reception at our Poconos office. It was a great night to connect with longtime supporters and newish advocates, all while raising significant funds for LEAF. Next slide. So to date, we've raised over $160,000 towards our one-year goal. With only 4 months left, I believe that we can exceed this goal. So if you want us to sue more polluters, please donate to LEAF today. And please share this with your family and friends. Thank you for allowing me to present tonight's spotlight on PennFuture's legal wins and updates and our legal environmental advocacy fund, something I'm very proud of. And now I'd like to turn it back over to Pat for the question and answer portion of our presentation. Thank you.
Very good. Next slide, please. All right. I know we've been getting questions as we've been going along, so going to start throwing some of them out. We got one question about HB 504, Community Solar Bill. What are the prospects for passing that bipartisan bill, which is currently stuck in committee in the Senate? Ren, I don't know if you know the answer to that off the top.
I don't, but I'm happy to follow up with Adam, our VP, and see if he can provide an answer, and then we can follow up in our email for that one.
Yeah, my sense is it's in the same place it's been within action. Probably the best chance for it to move is as part of a budget deal. There's a chance it'll pass as standalone, but it seems like the only way anything gets done these days is as part of a budget negotiation. All right, next question. When will the Energy Pathway report be posted?
That, Pat, is referring to Donna's report that she is working on for the
Oh,
energy dialogue. Yeah, so the name might even be changed too because it's still in works. I'm
okay.
gonna get off camera, sorry. But we are hoping to have that, well, that report will be done on June 4th, and we'll have physical copies of that, and we'll also post that online. So June 4th would be the answer, I guess.
Let's see. How do I get more involved in actions and supporting Future through volunteering? Um, I will kick this over to our civic engagement team. Kat?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of ways. It depends on which region you're in, but depending on where you are, you can get connected with one of the civic engagement team members here. It's either myself or Natalie in Allegheny County, and we can go back to the slide of since now you're still sharing the slides of the different team members across the state. And then, of course, if you find yourself in a region that does not have a civic engagement team member, you can always get connected with either myself, since I have in the past reached out to folks in Central PA. I was in Homer City for their community gathering not too long ago, or you can get in touch with Jess Ketterat, our Director of Civic Engagement, and she can direct you to the appropriate civic engagement team member. But there are a lot of ways that you can get involved if you are doing things online. We always have our upcoming webinars, as well as action alerts or petitions where you can send a pre-written letter that you can edit and personalize. Or if you are in person, keep an eye out for some of our ACE meetings, or some of our in-person gatherings. For instance, I will be hopefully planning, or actually planning a crafternoon, more like a craft exercise with college students in Allegheny County. So there's different ways that you can get involved. Just get plugged in with us, and we can get you situated. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you. Let's see. Got a question. What solutions do you see as necessary to help improve solar siting in Pennsylvania, and any progress on the backlog with PJM? Annie, you want to take any part of that?
Sorry, I was answering another question in real time. What solutions do you see necessary to help improve solar siting in PA? Well, that is a part of our energy affordability agenda, talking about fast tracking solar. I think we are still in the process of drafting legislation for that, and that is more information to come. And I know our legal team has taken a stab at looking at local ordinances to ensure that zoning is all correct in the books to make sure that we have solar, streamlined. Right now, we are sitting on a coalition with a couple other Pennsylvania groups who are working to support solar projects in rural communities throughout the state. And it's a very on the grounds fight, going to local township hearings and trying to drumbeat, general support of solar and letting folks know it's not going to harm the land and it's not going to do all these things that a lot of solar misinformation is kind of spreading. So we're working on drafting legislation to ensure that we can streamline that. I don't really have the details yet, but we still stay tuned as we introduce that legislation and do some more communications around that. And in the meantime, we're also working simultaneously on a digital comms campaign to fight solar misinformation. So as we kind of prepare for legislation to streamline solar to make it easier, we're also promoting it before projects get proposed in rural communities so that people don't think solar is synonymous to development like data centers, for instance. So I appreciate the question. Um, and any progress on the backlog with PJM. I wish Jessica was here, who sits on our PJM calls, but we are still pushing to get those thousands of clean energy projects that are waiting in the queue to be greenlit and moved up. So, Fred, I see you asked the question. I'm happy to talk more offline about the specific details, but Pat, if I missed anything, feel free to fill in.
No, on the last bit, I think the only thing I would add is they are the PJM and frankly, a lot of the state governments, including our own, are still advancing ideas like, hey, let's get natural gas plants to jump space in the queue. They've set up some programs that have already allowed a little bit of that. Um, so, continues to be frustrating in terms of the interactions with PJM and with some of the politicians. Um, the on the siting, the only other thing I would add is one of the things we're trying to do is make sure we're not losing opportunities. So we're looking at things like the solar warehouse bill. Part of our energy affordability agenda is also around mine land, brownfield development as well, and trying to advance those kinds of kind of very make sense ideas. So those are all part of the things we're pushing.
Oh, and of course, we have our solar guidebook for municipalities that I don't know why I didn't say that to begin with, but our legal team, it's on our
Mhm.
website. If someone could drop the link in the chat, but if you want to see more solar projects like that in your community, give this guidebook to municipal leaders. It's a step-by-step guide on how to get those kinds of projects. So, of course, we have a tangible solution for that.
Okay. Next question. Our EAC, Environmental Advisory Committee, passed a recommendation that our township adopt a data center ordinance using our model. Solicitor is worried it will backfire because we seem to be outlawing data centers specifically. Any advice? Recognizing that we can't give legal advice, but Abby, um, any response on that?
Yeah, Pat, thanks. You took the disclaimer out of my mouth, so I appreciate you. Um, the thing about our model ordinance or any model ordinance is that it can be tailored towards your community, your municipality. So if and what your solicitor is getting here is like exclusionary zoning. So in Pennsylvania, we have to allow for every use in our municipality. What that looks like is really up to the community. But if your height restrictions, setbacks, for example, are too restrictive to basically prohibit it anywhere, even if you say you allow it, a developer could sue your municipality and they could win. So that's kind of where your solicitor's concern is coming from. So in this case, your municipality might be considering, okay, for data centers or another industrial kind of use, maybe a 40-foot or a 50-foot height would be more appropriate to still minimize and mitigate the damages or the impacts from like a data center, but still not be so restrictive as to kind of fall into the illegal territory.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Abby. Uh, this is the one. The loss of Reggie. What are the ramifications? And I will, as the person who was at the EP trying to push this one forward, I'll take it. It's interesting because it's actually I have two different answers, right? One, which is the frustration I had for 7, 8 years now, talking about this, which is um, there's no like ramification in that we never actually got to be in Reggie, right? We never actually got to see and experience what being in that program would do for the Commonwealth, what it would mean in terms of unlocking all the energy and environmental benefits that we would get out of it. So, um, part of the ramification is rightly like saying almost none because it never happened. But the flip side of that is it feels like we lost a whole lot in terms of billions of dollars of potential renewable energy, energy efficiency, clean energy development in the Commonwealth, all of the jobs that go along with that. Frankly, we're feeling it right now in terms of our energy costs. As you know, there was just recently independent fiscal office in the legislature issued a report that said our electric rates have gone up over the past 5 years, and the leading driver of that is natural gas costs. So when you look at it, like on the one hand, uh, not we were never in the program, but on the other hand, we had this opportunity to positively impact our climate, our health, our electric bills, our energy bills, our jobs, our economy, and we ended up throwing that away, as Abby said, before we even got that final decision from the Supreme Court. So one of the more frustrating things for me as someone who dealt with this for many, many years, both at PennFuture and in my previous life at DEP. I guess I got to go back to moderating now. Um, let's see. At a time when climate crisis is apparently getting worse, a dangerous trend, climate hushing has taken hold. Climate change is hardly ever mentioned by anyone, not the media, not in the boardroom. What ought we do to counteract this? Um, the let me just see. I don't know, Annie, if there's anything you want to say on this.
It's a really good question. Tim, I see you asked it, and I know we've talked about this. Um, no, it's certainly complicated because unfortunately that term has been somewhat politicized, and we have to work across the aisle a lot of times. But I don't think it's a secret that that's in PennFuture's mission statement and all over our materials. It's literally the goal and mission of how we think of our objectives and our tactics. It's all driven by climate science and mitigating the impacts of it. So yeah, sometimes it's difficult when you have to be in bipartisan coalitions or talk to a legislator. Um, and maybe bring up energy affordability as the number one tactic of why we're, talking about a certain issue or issues that are big concerns in their district, and tying it into that. So, um, we certainly, though, keep are fighting for like the endangerment finding and other huge climate regulations. So, I hope we're not a part of the climate hushing and more of like trying to be strategic with a strong backbone and that sort of thing. But yeah, we I'm not sure how else to respond to that, but it is something that I've noticed too, Tim. So um yeah.
Annie, I'll
I'll
jump.
I'll if I can just add, I think one of the things we didn't cover in this was how we're funded, and importantly, that does not include federal or even state dollars in terms of the money. So we're getting support from foundations and support from members like you. And that has put us in a position to be able to advocate for things that, frankly, some of our colleague organizations and like no shade, like they're relying on some of this funding, and they've had to scrub this stuff. DEI, EJ, climate change from their work in order to continue to function. I know we participate on Chesapeake Bay as one example, and climate change got taken out of that. Environmental justice is now called workforce development in the latest Bay Agreement as it was just approved. So yeah, we're definitely seeing, feeling that, but I think we're also seeing, feeling people saying things like, "The weather sure isn't what it was." I'm sitting here tonight under a tornado warning in central Pennsylvania, right? Like the weather, whether they're calling it that or not, they are feeling it regardless. We're going to continue to call it out. And I know we are at time. Um, so we'll follow up with folks if we didn't get to some of these questions. I think we have one more slide at the end here. Okay, so Again, encourage, if you like what we're doing, obviously donations help, but also tell other people about us. Make sure you're helping just grow the number of members that we have as we go into these fights. Do we have one more slide, I believe? And again, what can you do? Follow and interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, TikTok. Sign up for Lobby Day. Again, that's Monday, May the 4th. Star Wars Day, very easy to remember. We'll be sending out a membership survey, so please fill that out so we can get as much information as we can about what's on your mind and how you're feeling. And again, try to invite 3 family or friends to join PennFuture so we can really, really accelerate the work that we're all about here with you on the team. Last note for me is just very appreciative of all the members, incredibly appreciative of the team here at PennFuture. It's an absolute joy to work here every day with colleagues who I often leave the office in awe of the work that they managed to accomplish in each business day. So thank you so much. And with that, we will close out our member webinar. Just again, thank you so much for all your support. And you'll be hearing more from us.